warm welcome back everybody and a good day to you all. Today I have planned a tutorial slash introductory training flight for myself so I can learn a bit more in depth the model of the default Lugano Research X-Plane 12 aircraft, the McDonnell Douglas 82. Now I have had a few flights practice over the last few days. I have to say I've actually really enjoyed the aircraft and the handling, the systems and the chat list. Now before we get started, the chat list was downloaded from a source for the X Chatlist plugin, so just be aware of that. You can't get it included with the game, or the game does include one, it's not as detailed as this. So I'll just show you now. So we've got X lists, X chat list, open chat list, and we're parked in the ramp as you can see at the gate as Alitalia, so a very well-known airline there based in Italy. I love the livery actually on the MD-82. It looks very, very good. As you can see there, Geneva or Genoa, a very good model, and actually is proving to be probably one of my favourites up to now. I haven't really played with it much in the past because I was a bit unsure about the layout, but in general it's a really well made plane, and the detail they put into it, although it doesn't look high quality, it certainly has high quality handleability features. So we're going to go on ahead and hop in. Now one of the things you'll notice straight away is obviously the layout is different, but it's very, very old too, so the instruments, the radar and things are outdated. So the MD-82 is of course a more modern McDonnell Douglas, although it's still outdated, still used by like carriers such as American Airlines and Delta. I have to say though, I do really like it. So we're going to get on with the procedures. Now I've only planned a short flight so we can all take our time and learn this together, so we can all understand it, and so I can too, so I can make the most of the experience. I don't want to rush it and make a mistake. So let me connect 1 second to the VATSIM network, and with any luck we'll have some ATC online today. Okay, connected. So we're going to go ahead and continue the chat list. Now be aware of the X chat list, you do need to keep this background transparent one on. The reason why I got this one is A, to make it easy to see, and B, because you can press check items, so that makes it a lot easier. So we're going to go ahead and check off these.
Aircraft weight and fuel.
Okay, so the flight plan is pre-downloaded into the tablet, Aviator's tablet, again a plugin, and we're going to use our weight and balance from here. So we need to put in our weight and balance based on what's in that. So the iOS, we go down here, so we're going to put our block fuel in of 6763. I would recommend typing it to get the most accurate number. Sometimes it won't work on the sliding scale, and again on packs. For the weight, we're going to use the total payload, so the total payload being 13.5, 129 packs on board. As you can see, we can't actually adjust the amount of passengers, we can only add a total weight, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So 13,500, it's relatively light actually for this kind of aircraft. And that's it, so the weight and balance is complete.
Check. See Pilot Operating Handbook for details.
So
Start the cars and squawk box.
I'm assuming this part is what we would call VATSIM, or some kind of online ATC service, because I'm not sure what else it could mean. There's no ACARS or squawk box in here that would be you'd be able to interact with. I haven't found it yet, at least.
Check. Parking brake. Set. Landing gear lever. Down.
Is indeed down.
External power.
Cool, so you're going to notice that what I'll do, since I am now somewhat familiar with the layout, I'm going to be moving the camera to where it is so you can all see it. So for external power, you can either add a shortcut to your keyboard like I have, or you can simply go up to the overhead panel
on
and select on to the external power.
Left and right bus.
So actually, let me break down this overhead panel before we go any further on the chat list, so you all understand what is positioned in what place. So, for those of you already familiar with the MD, you probably already know. It does take a little bit of getting used to compared to the Boeing, but in general, the the layout's pretty simple once you understand it. It's just based on a different system. So, a lot of the buttons aren't interactable. You can't actually change all of them. There's a lot there you can't do anything with. So, we'll start with the electronics and the APU unit. So the AC unit is here. This is controlling the aircraft electronics. Just right of that is the APU unit. Above that, again, you've got the electronics, and you've got the dials there to see the gauges, the EGT, for example, the APU. Going further down on the left side, we've got the engine controls. That includes the fuel pumps. Below that, we have a combination of seatbelt signs and pitot-static heats. Basically, the anti-ice system mixed in with some passenger signs. Then we go up to the right, top right, and we have cargo doors, and that is, as far as I'm aware, the only one and the ground proximity that we can actually interact with there. That's I would say that's probably not even that important. So moving down again, a few test systems, including the anti-skid, the attendant call button, very odd layout there. And then we get to the important one, which is pneumatics, the air conditioning system. So bleed air from the engines, bleed air from the other things. You'll notice the APU bleed air is in fact included with its unit, which makes sense. Below that, again, not very important because you cannot change any of that. So we'll keep going on with the checklist. And we'll connect our external power on the AC unit.
Weather radar.
That's down here in the sensor. Now it should automatically be off and it should automatically check it, so you can't change it.
Off.
It's always on basically. Galley light up here, this provides power to the aircraft's cabin.
Passenger door, key is shift and F1.
Okay, with this, I found you best not using the shift in F1 and F3 because it can in fact mess the aircraft systems up, including the auto throttle. So, let's just have a look at the cabin. I think the detail in the cockpit is actually okay. It's not as great as you would expect, but it's still pretty good. When you go into the cabin, it's not great. It's pretty poor actually, but it still looks believable. So I actually recommend just simply opening the doors with your keyboard and mouse.
Keys shift and F3.
And the staircase, if you're wondering, is located before the door. They can be operated independent of one another, so you don't have to wait for the door to close to do these stairs. And it slides out. Somewhere down here you'll find a click button.
Forward cargo door.
That's very cool. I think this is one of the best features of the plane. You see there, just extending out. Now I keep using this rather than the jetway because it's just a bit more interactive. So we get to play a little bit of cabin crew. Back into the cockpit. Now passengers can load, cargo doors can be opened. I would say if you've already loaded your packs and cargo weight, you probably don't need to do this unless you want to do it super realistic.
Check. Battery.
Just bear with me everybody, just give me a few minutes. Okay, I've returned everybody. Just had something fall over, so let's carry on. So we cleared the master. Now, battery's quite cool in this. You click it on, and then you have to turn it to lock it in place.
FMC.
Okay, let's get the FMC. So we haven't got a preloaded flight plan because I want to do it manually to show you how it works. It's not as in-depth as the Zebra mod, but of course the Zebra mod is, of course, a mod and it's downloadable. It's not included with the base game. So let's go ahead and get our flight plan sorted. So first of all, I'm going to make it super simple by putting in our waypoints, departure and origin. So Lima Sierra Zulu Alpha, and then we're going to start with the departure, the Mullis for November, runway 04. And we do in fact have it. We're going to go ahead and click that. Now it doesn't come with a light to say execute, but you do need to execute to put that into the flight plan. As you can see, we'll be going via the Mullis for November to Mullis, and then after that you can enter your waypoints. November 871, that would be the airways, and then Corrid. Strange, we won't enter it in because I haven't typed it correctly, so always check you've typed it in. Corrid direct Bursu. I feel like this plane also creates a sense of patience. It's certainly more pleasurable to go in, I'd say, than the 737 because you have to. I feel like I have to take my time on this, whereas the 737, it seems, I don't know, it just seems very, very easy. I don't want to say it's easy, but you know, it's because I know the procedures. So Corrid Bursu, Director Odina. Again, entering on the right hand side of the waypoints, and then the left hand side for the airways. So Odina is part of the arrival, and then it'd be the let's enter that in. The 01 IGS Odina 8 Lima. We don't have any transition on the chart on the flight plan, so we're going to skip the transition. Flight number, well, we got our number as basically just the default one that comes with the plane, which is the tail number, November 882 Sierra Bravo, and we'll skip the number for now. So that is the FMC sorted. Make sure you click execute. We're going to go ahead and do our cruise level. So it's only a short flight. We'll need a lower cruise level, so 230. 0220-023. So between those, let's go ahead and enter. Let's go for 220. On neighbour 10,000. That's fine. Click execute again, and that's it. As far as I'm aware, that's sorted. The arrival's a little bit more complicated. Excuse me, but in general, very, very easy to set up.
Program flight plan. APU air source.
I would actually recommend at that point probably getting your clearance. So it doesn't say get clearance, but you should if you find your FMC. What you need to do is jump VATSIM, of course. Go onto the over the VATSIM comms, check if anybody's online, or simply just check vatsimradar.com and you'll be able to see it. So we haven't got anybody available at the moment. We have got Centre in Padova. We may, I don't know, we may or may not get comms from them. We got aircraft to this airport as well, so we may hear them communicating on the radio. Well, let's tune in. Again, the radio stack is unique. You can switch between the two, and that makes it a little bit easier to change frequencies. So you always have one on the backup which you can use. Right, let's get the APU started. So the blue air comes on first.
Cooler. Engine start pump.
Now the engine start pump is over here.
On. APU master. Run. APU master. Start.
You'll see the
Check
RPM
APU
increase.
power avail.
And the EGT, I recommend holding it until it's climbed. And just let it climb and then... There you go. So as soon as it spins a little bit fast, you can probably let go of it. APU, we check the AC volts are increasing. They are. It's just the perfect plane, isn't it? I highly recommend it. Giving it a go and giving it a fly. Do it with the checklist. It makes it certainly
Check.
more realistic.
APU bus left.
Okay, let's get the APU buses on.
APU bus right. On. Check APU volts and frequency.
So we checked them. It's over 100 volts now.
Right generator.
So this is for the engines. I didn't realise they were already on.
Left generator.
These are for the engines for when you turn them on.
External power left bus.
Okay, now we turn the left bus. We turn these off.
External power right
And we go up
bus.
to the top again
Off.
to turn it off. You can turn it off on a keyboard shortcut,
On.
but it doesn't matter too much.
Check APU AC load. Check. Instrument lights.
Instrument lights, I think we're pretty good now. Let's
As
keep it as it
required.
is.
Stall test.
Okay, stall test again in a bit of an odd place. I like to use the overhead panel view, but sometimes from this view it can make it easier to see where I'm looking. So go up to the overhead, and it'll be on the right hand side, just under cargo doors.
Check. Max SPD warning test.
Max speed test is literally right next to it.
Check.
Very easy to find it.
Annunciator / digital lights test.
Okay, this is the annunciation light, so basically everything that can go wrong and illuminate will illuminate, and that is in the bottom right corner of the overhead panel.
Check. Loops a test. Check.
Give it a good scan.
Speed test.
Make sure everything is illuminated.
Clear master caution. Check. Clear master warning. Check. Seatbelt sign.
Okay, again, referring back to this little bit up here with the anti-ice and the lighting, the anti-ice and the seatbelt signs, so no smoking.
On.
Seatbelt
No
signs.
smoking sign. On. Stairs, stowed and passenger
Cool,
door
so now we're
closed.
ready to do our engine start. Now we can hop back out of the cockpit. We got everyone on board. We can hop out and we'll close the door and retract these steps. You can simply click them from the inside when you're in it, and of course the
Check.
same with the door.
Forward cargo door.
I'm going to go ahead and close the cockpit door now. Right, so that means we're basically in the position where we got to close the cargo first,
Closed.
but where we can push
Mid
back,
cargo door. Closed.
ready for that engine
Aft
start.
cargo door. Closed. Anti-collision lights.
Okay, so they don't recommend putting it on until engine start. Now, that is true for the anti-collision lights. However, for the navigation lights, you know, in the 737 you would have them on when you're in the aircraft. And the same with many airlines, you would put it on
Push and
well
start
before this.
clearance.
Push and start. We haven't got ADC. We'll have to clear ourselves. We are going to squawk a random code. 5706, whatever it comes up with. Push and start clearance. I'm going to check the map and just check where we're pushing. It looks really bad weather actually. I didn't check the weather, but as you can see it's looking very harsh. We got a lot of yellow in there. There's a lot of green and blues, so it's probably going to be very turbulent in Lugano when we arrive. So we're going 04, which is going to be pretty easy. So we'll push back onto Alpha. And we'll taxi via Alpha to 04. We are Geneva traffic today. Geneva traffic, November 882 Sierra Bravo is pushing back for the engine start onto taxiway Alpha.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Okay, tow is driving up. It's got the good Italian accent. We want to make sure the area is clear. You can either do that outside, or it depends how realistic you want to keep it. If you want to stay in the cockpit the entire time, there's nothing wrong with that. providing you got the clearance to be pushed back.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
So he should be connecting. I've noticed you can either use the default pushback or the plug-in better pushback. Both work absolutely fine with the default aircraft MD-82. I just checked on the map as well. We do have a guy. Here's BA in an A320, and then further up we have someone else. I can see him with his lights on. Let's just zoom out here. It's going to be a rough. It is going to be a rough departure, so hopefully those practice flights will come in handy. Let's get the local QNH. It will come up on the chat list, but we want it nice and early so don't forget. So it's 1019.
Run to cockpit, please show me where you want to go.
Okay, relatively simple. Sometimes with this aircraft it can be hard to get a good pushback because it won't...
bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Yeah, it's such a long plane that it won't register the aircraft turn.
And you may start engines.
Okay, so that's the pushback clearance.
Received and activated.
It is raining now, we can
Pushback
see it.
procedure as required. Check. Left engine bleed air crossfeed.
This is a item I found people struggling with a lot, the bleed air on the engines in the MD-82, so in the, obviously 737 they would be up here on the overhead, but in the MD-82 it's a bit old school, so they're literally down here on the center console, and they're just below the engine controls and rudder trim and things. So
On.
these white levers are in
Right
fact the
engine bleed air
pneumatics
crossfeed.
for the engines.
On. Auxiliary transfer pump.
It's the same with the auxiliary transfer pump, so while we're doing our pushback we can just wait for him and show you. So you go down to the co-pilot side. He also happens to have the temperature outside and the true airspeed too, and he has it down here, so this will give pressure to the right
Left fuel
hydraulics. Okay, fuel pumps.
On. Center fuel pumps. On. Right fuel pumps. On. Engine start system or B.
Start system is here with the engine control, so I just recommend putting it on an A. It says it's not simulated.
Right engine starter.
Right engine first.
So, stand by.
Hold it until it gets to the top of that yellow 2, and then you can go down and check down for the 20% N2 on the center console again, just above the throttles, above
Hold
the weather
until
radar.
20% N2. Right fuel handles.
Okay, right fuel handles after, that's there, the black ones.
Check right volts and frequency. Check. Left engine starter.
And it's the same process with the left engine. So I recommend just holding it, wait till it builds up the pneumatic pressure, then check the N2. Make sure it's all working correctly.
Hold until 20% N2. Left
Okay.
fuel handles.
Fuel.
On.
Again, it says fuels, you should be able to
Check
find
left
it.
volts and frequency.
And we just check those voltages like the chat list recommends.
Check.
So full voltage on both.
Engine starter system. Off.
Off.
Engine start pump.
The engine start pump again here,
Off.
that comes off.
AC bus X type. Auto.
This in the AC unit.
APU bus left. Off. APU bus right. Off. APU bleed air.
Okay, so what you know when you got the engine started, you'll be able to turn the APU off. You can know these steps pretty easily if you've done it in any other airline. I just recommend you could probably skip these. You don't have to listen for the chat list every single item. You can just do it quickly, you know.
Off.
So I know the process,
APU master. Off.
but it did take me some
Flight
time to
control
learn the
elevators
positions.
full forward.
Okay, so we've had a successful engine start. We're going to go ahead and tell the tow bar to give us a thumbs up and disconnect. Don't worry about the autopilot settings just yet, because, well, I was initially worried we weren't going to be putting them in. Well, obviously the checklist gets to it. It's just getting to it a little bit later than we're used to. A lot of people tend to rush.
Disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal of the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Thank you to the pushback driver. Yes, so going back to my point, people tend to rush and they might look at a checklist and they might go, oh well, I don't want to do this, and actually they end up missing items and they rush and something goes wrong. You know, they might turn the autopilot on too early, they might set it wrong, so they need to follow. Like, if you're like me, you had no idea how to do this, I highly recommend just get that checklist off X checklist off the forums for X-Plane, and you should be able to do it that way. Right, cool, so engine start. Let's go ahead and do a quick flight control check.
Check.
So fully forward.
Flight control elevators full aft.
Fully aft.
Check. Flight control ailerons full left. Check. Flight control ailerons full right. Check. Flight control rudder full left.
Okay, we can't do those because the rudder's controlled by the yoke at the same time.
Flight control rudder full right. Seat belt sign. On. Strobe lights.
So this will be the navigation lights.
Position.
You can see they're coming on now.
Logo light.
The logo light is on the overhead panel for some reason, just next to the stall and speed warning tests.
On. Air conditioning left system.
Again, just slightly below it in the pneumatic, as I pointed out at the beginning where these systems were, just at the pneumatic part, so switch it straight to auto.
Air conditioning right system.
And you'll notice there that the PSI is increased in the system.
Auto. Check supply pressure. Pit temp.
The
Auto as desired.
Geneva traffic
Cabin
advice,
temp.
kilo stand 16 pushback.
Auto as desired.
the
Anti-skid.
so she's going through the checklist quickly. I was just going to say the temperature's quite warm, so you may want to turn that down a bit. Yeah, so as you can see, there's the cabin. We don't want it at about 25. That was way too hot. Anti-skid's just
Armed.
above.
Yaw damper.
Okay, yaw damper in this aircraft is not like the 737. You would actually
Elevator
keep it
trim.
off. It's very surprising. Elevator trim, I would recommend setting it so it shows you where you're meant to set it. So 15 degrees of flaps is the typical, and then you can check the center of gravity percentage here. So it's 15.6. And if you do it that way, it should be able to give you, you know, a semi-realistic trim amount. On the checklist it says 10 degrees up, but it doesn't tend to check it off if you do it.
Up 10 degrees. Flaps to 15 degrees.
Okay, you'll notice I pressed that 3 times. So what if you press it once, that will deploy the slats. Don't forget the slats on this aircraft, so it will deploy slats, and then you need 2 more times for 15 degrees.
Check. Speed buff set.
Okay, so this is where we start doing the speed. We're going to set 240. We haven't got any way of calculating V-speed, so we just go ahead and do 240. I think that's what it says anyway on the checklist. So we have to check some items
As
manually.
calculated. Flight director on.
This is where we can bring the aircraft
Check.
alive.
Autopilot.
So it says data set and off.
Data set
We've
and
done that.
off. Heading to runway heading.
Let's set the altitude 220. Set the runway heading. So it's going to be 04. And I recommend setting the course as well. It says on the checklist. I don't just recommend it because it's not on. It is on the checklist, so that's pretty
Check.
good.
Check doors are closed.
They are, but for some reason the reverse thrusters are also deployed. That aircraft behind is in fact pushed back as well, so I hope we're not going to block him.
Check. Nose lights.
I think also this was one of the few planes on X-Plane
Barometric
12
value set local QNH.
that actually saves the state
Set.
you left it in.
Transponder.
Transponders, we're going to turn it on now. There's not really any other way. It just goes standby in TCAS mode, and that's it.
Set as required. Petard forward slash
Pitot
stall
heat's
heat.
up here.
Captain. Left and right airfoil heat.
So that's engines. We won't bother with that. We'll just stick the windows, so we can just skip all that.
Engine start system.
Right, let's get the call out done. Taxi now to 04 Geneva Airport on the what is our departure again? And the Mollusk for November. Geneva traffic, November 882 Sierra Bravo is taxiing to runway 04 via Alpha. And we'll give them a departure when we're there. So let's get taxiing everybody, let's get to the runway. Welcome in. This is like a bit of a different flight, it's very short. More of a tutorial than anything. That plane behind. Probably taxi to 04 as well, I suspect. So yeah, it's one of the few planes that actually saves your state between aircraft sessions. So the reason why those lights here, the landing lights were on extend rather than retract, was because I left them in that state when I landed at the last airport. Now, what radar's down here, I recommend turning it to navigation. As you can see, we've got some pretty poor weather, and of course selecting 10 degrees on the range, because you're the captain. We're going to turn the yoke off so we have better visibility of it for our departure. Also, obviously the MD is beautiful. It looks fantastic on the outside, but its handling on the ground has to be very, very cautious. It's a long plane, so you have to take these corners, you know, relatively wide in order to avoid the mid-body slamming into something. This is certainly one of my favourites now. I think I may be flying this just as much as the 737 in the future. We will of course do more some in-depth flights though, rather than tutorials. This is for those who are like me, struggling to get started.
Geneva traffic, speedbird 7, the Romeo Papa, turning right base for the runway 22, Geneva.
Okay, we got someone landing on runway 22. I am going to be taxiing and taking off runway 04. I got a feeling that the guy landing is landing the wrong way, because we got someone else on the taxiway going super fast.
Geneva traffic, top Swiss 51 Papa Zulu, 9.3 mile final, runway 22 ILS.
Everyone's landing 22. That guy behind is going really, really fast. I don't like it when we get people like that on VATSIM. They race around, and I'm not sure why people are landing on the runway either. He's coming to the right runway, but the others aren't. Like, you obviously wouldn't land into traffic, so yeah, very interesting. We're not in a rush. We're not going to make our flight unprofessional and break any rules. So we're gonna take it easy and not speed up to take over other people. So he's probably disconnecting and probably reconnecting in front of me, which is strange. We've got a guy flying overhead. You know, it's chaos, isn't it? Unless he's going to depart without being connected to VATSIM, which will make sense. I guess that means you won't take off into traffic. Let's not dwell on it too much. The main part of this flight was just to understand the systems, the layout, the checklist, and really demonstrate that the longest part of it is by far the checklist. You know, the actual flight itself is super short. Cool, so we're going to hold short here at Golf, runway 04. I don't know where the other plane went. I thought he was maybe going to reconnect, but he's gone. Okay, let's go ahead and put our brake on. So, override system for the engines.
Panel.
Enunciation is a check, everything is off.
Left external floodlight. Extend on.
That'll be the landing lights.
Right external floodlight. Extend on. Nose lights. Off. Auto brake.
Geneva traffic, speedbird 73 Romeo Papa, fully established, ILS runway 22 Geneva.
RTO is down here, a little bit hard to find.
Galley off or take off.
Okay, galley being the cabin
Off.
lights.
Check engine instruments.
Energy instruments, all looking good, no issues.
Check. Check anti-ice.
Anti-ice, we're just going to go ahead and stick them on now so we save a bit of time in the air. We don't have to worry about it.
Check. Decision height.
Decision height is usually 200 feet. Yes, that's decision, and so is this up here, so you can use both. That's for landing. Decision height is usually 1,000 feet. We're about 1,400, so it'd be... Yeah, we can't really go over 500 feet. Let's just put 200 feet in.
Set. Heading to runway heading.
Cool, so we've already pre-calculated our heading and done it as it
Setting
says.
active.
The vertical speed.
Vertical speed.
Let's go ahead and set. Now, this aircraft does need to climb a relatively shallow to keep its speed on departure, so I just recommend a standard 1800 climb out.
Set and active. Altitude to first cleared altitude.
We've tuned 22,000 in, that's our cruise
Set.
altitude.
Auto throttle set.
Auto throttle says 240.
240. Caution VNAV button acts as altitude hold.
So this is where we activate VNAV and LNAV. FMS is for VNAV, and sorry, for LNAV, and VNAV is down here. If you see it illuminate down here, which it should, it will follow the pre-programmed things. Auto throttle doesn't come on yet.
Request.
Takeoff clearance.
Strobe.
This will be strobes.
Thank you. And speedbird 73 Romeo
Radar.
Papa on final 5 mile out runway
Transponder.
22 Geneva traffic.
Transponder is on.
Timer.
Okay, timer. Now, look, it should. I don't want to disconnect and reconnect, but you know, people are landing on the wrong runway. So let's disconnect and then take off and reconnect. We shouldn't really do that, but you know, this is not that kind of flight. So anyway, let's get timer started. Let's run the time.
Line up.
Let's line up. It needs a lot of N1. It's a very heavy aircraft, it needs a lot of power just to get rolling on the taxiway sometimes. Also, the checklist for takeoff can be a bit confusing, there's a lot of things to go over. I just recommend once you're in the air, when it comes to autopilot, just get it engaged and get the auto throttle engaged as soon as, and then click the yaw damper on. You can worry about the extras afterwards, like galley lights and navigation sources. You should really have it selected before departures. Okay, this is a really cool airport, Geneva, and the MD-82 has a slightly different procedure. So we line up, we don't go full blast without any brakes, we stop first according to the checklist, parking brake on, and then we do 90%
Check.
N1.
Parking brake. Set. N1.
We set the N1 to 90%, not quite full.
90%. Parking brake.
Okay, parking brake can be released. Now this is where it gets a bit quick, so we're going to hurry up about it. 130 is the minimum rotation speed. Welcome in viewers. The handling, as I said, is very smooth on this plane, so you don't worry about the rudder control too much. I put very minimal control in, and it still flies very well. There's 120, 130, rotate.
130 knots. Climb.
Pitching up nice and steep. We've got a positive rate climb. There's a gear coming up.
Positive.
Okay, let's get the auto throttle on.
Geneva. Up.
Just click the auto throttle on, you notice, and the autopilot as well. So that should automatically continue the climb. We were already climbing about 1800 feet per minute. And the autopilot's taken over relatively smoothly. I have to say, the practice flights I've been doing the last few days, the autopilot hasn't been taken over smoothly because I'm turning it on too late. As you can see there, as long as you're climbing at the right amount, it'll take over without any issues whatsoever. Geneva traffic, November 882, Sierra Bravo is climbing flight level 220. And we've got the departure. More or less for November. I'm just going to turn over to the chat while we're in the climb, so let's put our flaps up. Flaps doesn't include slats, but I do recommend just do it all at once. So moving back over to the chats, welcome in,
Altitude.
and we'll answer questions at the end of the stream.
Feet. When at 300 feet.
300 feet, we passed that a long time ago, so as I say, the checklist for the takeoff is a bit slow. Galley lights again could come off on, and your damper could come on as well.
When at 400 feet.
You'll notice I didn't press the toggle button, and there's a reason for that.
Vertical speed.
The toggle button in this aircraft actually causes it to malfunction, so I've been pressing it and wondering why I couldn't disconnect the auto throttle later on, and then I didn't press toggle, and from that point on I could always disconnect the auto throttle. But when you press it, for some reason there's a glitch in X-Plane 12 where if you've got the auto throttle on and you press toggle and then you turn the auto throttle off, it won't stop the computers from controlling the engines, so you're basically left with rogue engines that you can't control yourself. I highly recommend avoiding the toggle button if you can do, if you've got one programmed in, and just using your standard throttles. So yeah, going back to the checklist, vertical speed, we're on VNAV and we're on FMS plan. Climbing straight now to flight level 220 at 240 knots.
Set and active. Nav source.
Nav source is selected on the radar.
As required. Galley.
Galley lights are on.
At transition altitude.
Transition level, we're going to go ahead and assume that the transition was pretty low. Let's just double check, we want to get it accurate though, I don't want to be messing around. So 80, so we're well past that, just about. Set standard pressure. Let's turn the landing lights off.
/2992. Left external floodlight. Retracted off. Right external floodlight. Retracted off. Nose lights. Off. Logo light.
Logo light up in the upper right.
Auto brakes.
Auto brakes down here, a little bit hard to find, as I said earlier. Some people do struggle with some of these systems. Engine start system, so that's up here. This is the same as, I guess, continuous ignition or similar in a 737, except for it's called override in this. So we turn it to off. I'm assuming it's the same. It might not be. Your damper is on.
Seat belts as required. Maintain 250 kts below 10,000 feet.
Well, we're over 250 knots, so sometimes the computers will have trouble following the speed. As you can see, it's going 220, but the speed is above 250. It is now above 10,000, but speed select is on 240. That may be because we're on vertical navigation. Let me just change it. So, vertical navigation. Ah, there we go. So now it'll follow the FMS speed. I see. So you depart with the vertical speed selected. That'll give you a good smooth departure, and then, of course, switch the VNAV on in the air.
Check. Altitude. Passing 10,000 feet. Set climb speed above 10,000 feet.
Climb speed, it seems to be doing it automatically, so as you can see 290. We won't have any control over that now, so so we can't change that. The FMS is taking control of the speed. That's ideal, that's what we want.
Monitor engine instruments.
Engine instruments are all good.
Check. Set cruise speed to 300 kts.
Of course, we're not quite at the cruise yet. Just take the time to say it once again, but this aircraft is a great choice, and it's actually a lot easier than I thought it was. It's not as in-depth as the Zebo mod because it's not fully interactable. A lot of the things aren't simulated, but it is a good aircraft to start with as an airliner. I've heard a lot of people say that the MDs are very hard. You know, I do and I do agree with some of that, and I don't. I think initially there's a big learning curve, there's a steep learning curve, but overall it's just as good and just as enjoyable as the default 737, which is actually also just as easy to get going. So we're flying today Alitalia, the well-known Italian airline, going on to an outer waypoint that will make our right turn to Lugano, our destination airport.
Flight is Mach 0.79 at floor 330. Seatbelt sign.
Okay, there's the cruise, everybody. So we're going to go ahead and switch our seatbelts. Actually, we're going to leave them on due to the turbulence in this flight.
On. No smoking sign. On. Bank angle.
So bank angle 10 degrees above flight level 330. I know you're supposed to turn it down 20 degrees above 20,000 feet. So we'll go ahead and do that now.
10 degrees above flight level 300.
Okay, so the next checklist I'll pop up when we're on our descent. Going back to chat, as I said, it's very easy once you understand the ILS approach system, and then you can apply the same principles to most aircraft that have that system built in, and that system is just having a most of the time a correct navigation equipment, ILS equipment, you know, I can't remember the name of them, but like a VOR, DME, perhaps a GPS. You could do it in a 172, a Cessna 172, as long as it's got a GPS in it and the correct instruments. My advice would be to take your time and learn the procedure in a basic plane and then step up to something that's faster, because hopping into a citation or even an MD-82 to do one can be overwhelming, let's say. You have to, in this one it's actually more complicated than the 737, so on arrival we'll have to go down to navigation and enter things like the course for the runway. We'll have to enter the frequency for the ILS. Then we'll have to select things on the MCP panel, such as the ILS and then auto land. And you have to be at the correct, as I say, headings and speeds and altitudes. Take your time, understand what the basics are, like how high you have to be, pick an airport, find out how high you have to be and how fast. Find out the frequency for the runway and just do a basic circuit with it. You should see it pop up on the primary flight display, either as a pink line or sometimes as a green or even different blue lines I've seen on aircraft. So usually horizontal and vertical to give you guidance to the runway. It's looking pretty rough though here. Let's kick those panel lights up. My mistake, I keep saying Italy. We are flying today in Alitalia, which is an Italian airline, but we're flying in Switzerland. My apologies. So it is indeed Geneva, Switzerland to Lugano, Switzerland. And in a moment we're going to be taking that right-hand turn to approach. Let's pre-plan our arrival. We're not going long till we get there, so it's a 0-1. I'm going to change the course now. A good way to do it actually is to get... So the charts for the airport will be able to tell you the heading. I don't like to close that. There's going to be an easy way of doing it. And there is. Simply click the home button. Airports, and then just type in the destination. So LSGG is Geneva. LSZA is Lugano. So 915 feet. ILS ID ILU. So it's not a typical ILS, it's an IGS. That's 108.9. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-tune it now, so we're all nice and early. It's already tuned in 108.9. Navigation 1. And we're going to set the course as well. So course is 15. In this case 015 degrees. Now you can tune into nav 2, but it's not essential on this plane. I found you can, avoid it. ATC mode altitude, again that's the squawk code. So now we tune the course and the nav frequency. It should be able to establish on the ILS without any problems. I'm going to keep it on 30 degrees of bank. It hasn't told us to turn it off. And I'm going to pre-select the heading. So course, I see. So when you enter the course on the nav radio down here, 015, it will in fact automatically change the course up there as well. You can do it on the co-pilot and co-pilot side as well, just to make it a little bit more realistic. What we're going to do though is select our heading to the exact same one as the course, and then we can make sure there's no issues. You can also set the frequency here to 108.9. Let's do it on his side. So he's got the guidance on his radar and his ADF. PFD. So this is the approach, the Lugano, Switzerland. So you can see there, Pinnock. We're going to check the FMC to check our waypoints. Pinnock indeed is in there, and it's indeed corresponding with 6,000 feet on the chart. So we'll be at 6,000 feet, then we'll descend down 5,000, and we'll just keep going to Lugano's runway. And then this approach is back up to 6,000 feet, it seems, back to Pinnock. Cool, so when you get the charts, that's all you need to know. Going back to our actual downloaded flight plan, I'll keep that open for the radio calls. Top of descent should be pretty imminent though. You'll notice on the radar it's not quite as clear. So there's the top of descent, but obviously the weather is blocking it out. It won't be very easy to see it. Let's see what we've got to descend to. So it seems like straight down to 11,000 feet. If we tune it now to 11,000 and turn the knob, when it gets to the top of descent, it should automatically start its descent. At which point we'll give them a radio announcement. Just about to cross that top of descent. As you can see, we crossed it and we are in fact descending, so that's perfect timing. Well, we should be descending, it doesn't look like it is, so in this case we have to do a vertical speed. I'm going to go for the standard at 1800 feet per minute and keep it nice and simple. You'll notice actually one mistake I've made is I didn't turn the radiator heat, the rat heat or rat probe on, which is the ram air turbine. Flight time so far has been 23 minutes, it's really short. Great tutorial if you're looking for guidance on the MD-82. Guidance on just general start procedures for airlines. It's very cool, but it is very outdated. It's probably considerably easier on something like a 737 MAX, which will have a lot less manual gauges and switches and a bit more digitalized, more modernized for the sort of newer generation of pilots. Go ahead and slow down to 240 knots. And let's get that checklist back up. That's what we're doing today. We're doing the checklist, so we'll go back over to descents. As I discussed before, so we put the ILS in the course in, it's 108.9.
Set. Nav radio page of FMC. Landing runway course OBS1. Set. Landing lights extend and on before 10,000 feet.
I recommend just extending them. You don't have to switch them on, but you just make sure you have them all prepared and ready for landing. I say, obviously before 10,000 feet is ideal, like the checklist suggests. You know, you may want to stick it on earlier or later, just, of course it is a sim, it's your preference, isn't it? There's no hard fast rule on a simulator. Lugano traffic, November 882 Sierra Bravo, it's descended to flight level 110 on the Adena 8 Lima arrival to Lugano Airport.
Check. Logo light.
Again, logo lights are coming back on, and so are ground flood lights.
Left ground flood light.
These are along the right edge of the MCP panel,
On.
right next to the anti-collision
Right
lights.
ground flood light.
And there is something there called Wing NACL. I haven't used that yet.
On. Your damper.
Okay, this is skipping to the approach, so we don't have to worry about that just yet. Top of descent again is coming up, and we'll go down to our final approach height, which is about 6,000 feet there for Pinnock. We'll make sure it's a nice and slow descent. And keep it at 1800 feet per minute. I'm going to go ahead and deploy the slats though. We're below 250 knots, just about. And you'll see down here on the lower left next to the captain you have your limit. So slack's extended, they're actually quite high speed. Mid is 280. Full is 240. We're also over the Swiss Alps at the moment, and it's actually been relatively clear. We set off from Geneva and it was considerably worse than this. As you can see, the radar's cleared up, so it'll probably be a VFR landing. LSCA, so it looks like we're going to do a U-turn of some kind, or maybe a snake pattern arrival. I suspect a manual landing as well. Let's go ahead and just increase that descent rate. 2,300 feet per minute. I hope this isn't going to be final and I'm going to miss it. It doesn't seem to be. There does seem to be a U-turn in there. Let's go ahead and get the prepared again. Let's do the yaw damper off.
At transition level set local QNH.
Okay, local QNH. What is the local QNH? 1019, so it's the same as what we have now. Well, it's the same as what it was at Geneva.
Set.
Let's go ahead and slow down to approach speed of 200 and I'll put it 220. The MD-82 does need a lot of power because of that rear engine configuration design. Otherwise you'll end up with a sinking tail. Let's just go ahead and shut the speed to 180. And bring out 11 degrees of flaps.
Check. Speed brakes.
Okay, speed brakes a little bit different in this plane to the standard one. You would usually pull it out on the 737. It's the same on this, although it looks intimidating, but rest assured it isn't. You simply
Armed.
pull it up and it will arm them.
30. Auto brakes.
Okay, so I don't know how we're going to do that turnaround. Unless there isn't a turnaround and I can't see it. I'm assuming it's going to turn around for final. I've never flown into Lugano Airport. I know it's a tricky one. Good thing we can see some mountains and things, isn't it? So it looks like we're going to be doing that U-turn, a bit like the Parabutan one. Hopefully to the left hand side, there's less mountainous terrain there. Anyway, auto brakes down in the centre console. We're going to stick it onto minimum.
Set.
We don't want to skid.
180 knots approach.
Now, I recommend if you're using a throttle quadrant like I am, make sure you set the throttle up, don't idle it. Because when you unengage or disengage the auto throttle,
Flaps to 28 degrees.
you'll have to compensate immediately. Okay, flaps. 28 degrees. Let's slow down to 160. Because we know we've got a steep descent coming up. I set them to 15, click them twice to make it go to 28 from 11 degrees. 28 degrees is the max for landing, although it can go up to 40. It's not typically used. 6,000 feet from Pinnock, and that will be the descent point, I believe, into runway 01. Decision height has been set, it's 200 feet. Let's go ahead, and I'm a bit nervous here about what's going to happen. Again, first time flying this route. The aircraft's handling it relatively well. Keep an eye now on the X-plane map for any other traffic in the area. So yeah, it looks like we're gonna have sufficient time there to get to the runway, and probably a bit of manual flying at the end as well. You see they're gonna go down to Caldwell. 5-4 localizer. Can't quite see it, but it is there, just overlapping. It's a very hard to see radar. That commend the pilots for being able to read it. And the go-around height will be 6,000 feet. So we get the ILS tuned. I think that's the airport. Yes, it is, which means we're going to miss it. Let's go ahead and select the ILS. Yeah, I'll gear down.
Engine start system.
Okay, engine start, coming back to override. We are way too high, so let's get the autopilot off. And auto throttle.
Check. Caution, auto land indication does not mean an auto land.
We don't need auto land. Okay, we've done that, so we can turn that off, and the next one will be touchdown. It seems like we may have missed the runway, so what I'll do is I'll do a 360 to the left, and I'll come back round. I'm not sure how we were supposed to get there from 6,000 feet, but as you can see, the autopilot, autothrottle system has in fact done that strange thing again, where it goes into sort of God mode and starts to take over the controls itself. I thought it wasn't going to do it, but for some reason it's decided to do it in stream, which is a bit embarrassing. Like, literally, I never had this issue before. Did a practice flight, never had that problem at all. Turned it off and it disengaged, so I can only expect that it's because we're too high up. Okay, 360 now. Yeah, there was no way we're going to get down there from 6,000. Let's go around. So he's expecting us to get there from here, which is way too high up. As you can see, working pretty well. Keeping us at our target speed of 160, hope. Yes, I think it may have its height. Height has a thing to play in this. So if you disengage it too high, maybe it does it. Maybe it doesn't disengage it. We'll have to wait and see. It probably has something to do with the autopilot as well. So let's go ahead and select them off. FMS speed should be about 160 in there. It's giving us about 130, which is fine. It was going well. I think the MD does have some glitches there in the auto throttle, so you should technically be able to disengage at any height. Obviously there's something in there with the programming that is preventing that. It's a bit better on the approach, not as steep, not as high up. Let's just go this straight down. So it says for the checklist, I think it says 400 feet. 400, it says autopilot's at 50 feet, which is very low. And then the auto throttle actually comes off first. Well, again, I've done it the other way around. Maybe try it the other way around. So auto throttle, autopilot. Don't think we'll have control. No, we don't have control, so let's leave it. Well, the speed up it's a bit. I don't really change it, but it would help to have a correct speed in there. A bit lower down, a bit slower. So yeah, red light's too low. Very high steep approach. Lugano traffic, November 882 Sierra Bravo is final, runway 01. Yeah, Lugano super challenging actually. Didn't realise how difficult it was. Well, it was a great flight until we get to that. I feel a bit disappointed. The tutorial is going well, then we get to the final and the auto throttle messes up. The game should realise that we're at a high altitude and that we're going to be landing steeply, so it should be allowing the autopilot to disengage and the auto throttle to disengage without any issues. Right, we're below 400. Let's disengage it and see if it works. Seems to have worked. No. It's too white, so I still can't disengage it. So silly.
100, 50, 40, 30, 20.
Now we can't slow down.
10.
Touchdown. Thrust
Spoilers, reverses.
reverse max.
Full brakes on as well.
As required.
Just about stopped.
70 knots. Thrust levers. Reverse idle. Landing speed.
Okay, let's get the spoilers and the flaps up.
Thrust levers.
So I have disengaged the spoilers, the auto throttle, but the auto throttle won't go off.
20 knots. Auto brake.
I think we got control of it now. Doesn't want to disengage it. Right, we finally got control of the throttles. I'm so sorry that happened. You know, I had some good flights earlier and I literally had no issues with the auto throttle until now. I don't know what I did wrong. I did it the same as I did it earlier and I had no issues. We would have had a good landing otherwise. It's still good, but it's just disappointing that that glitch is in there. It shouldn't be working after you've turned the auto throttle off. I had to turn the flight directors off to do it. So I mean, Laminar Research really needs to fix that issue.
As required.
They really need to get that sorted. Still though, not bad considering we had a runaway auto throttle. Let's get turned around and parked up. Small runway.
Check. Auto brakes. Off. Nose light. On dim or bright. Chrono.
"42 minutes.
Off /reset. Speed brakes. Retract. Flaps. Retract. Transponder.
Okay, transponder.
STBY. Left external floodlight. Retract and off. Right external floodlight. Retract and off.
Take this corner nice and
Strobe.
wide. Strobe's
Position.
coming off.
Left and right surface heat. Off.
Off. Turn all the anti-ice
Routine
off.
Anti-fog and ice.
Radiator heat can come off.
Off.
Rammer
Left
turbine
engine
heat.
anti-ice. Off. Right engine anti-ice. Off. Parking brake.
We're not quite there. The shutdown checklist is still to come. Very difficult to manoeuvre this plane around the the airports. I will record another flight where we do this plane properly, and hopefully the auto throttle works as programmed. We are at Lugano Airport, aren't we? Yeah. Just making sure we're at the right place. Looks mostly like GA aircraft. Lugano traffic, November 882 Sierra Bravo, clear runway 01, taxi into ramp. There's a lot of parking on grass as well, just further up, a lot of Cessnas there, so obviously a very small local airport here. Long enough runway for a regional airline, I'd say, just about. If we had max auto brakes, we probably could have stopped considerably earlier than we did. And we're probably not going to get a decent space, so let's just go ahead and line up. Let's just go ahead and park here. We don't have to park anywhere serious. Okay, idle the throttles, parking
Set.
brake on.
Anti-skid.
Anti-skid is being disengaged.
Nose light.
Nose light off.
APU air source. Air condition cooler. Engine start pump.
That's that one.
APU master.
AP master.
Run. APU master. Start. Check APU power avail.
Okay, that will just build up as the APU engages. I turn this override system off. I'll just wait for it on the checklist. I was going to say turn it off, but don't want to turn it off before we need to.
Check. APU bus left.
APU bus coming on. Now we can switch to ground
APU
power,
bus
turn
right.
the generators off the engines and things.
APU generator. On. Right generator. Off. Left generator.
You'll notice as well it automatically
outside.
connects to the active bus. There's no need to switch it.
Off. Flaps.
Retracted.
Retract. Left fuel.
Okay, left fuel pumps. Sometimes it won't register it, so you do have to manually check them off.
Right fuel. Off. Left fuel pumps. Off. Center
Oh,
fuel
okay.
pumps.
So I did that last time. It's what it's saying is the engine cut off fuel, cut off levers. That's why I always get it mixed up.
Transfer pump.
So it's these cut off levers you need to idle, and then you switch the fuel pumps off. Auxiliary transfer pumps. We can hop over to the co-pilot side. His is it's sort of hidden away down here, just under his yoke.
AC bus X type.
It was an auto. Now we're going to open it.
Left engine bleed air crossfeed.
Again, you can become a little bit mixed up about where this is. It's just down where we initially
Right
allowed the
engine bleed
pneumatics
air
in.
crossfeed. Off. Petard and stall heat. Off. Engine start system. Off. Engine start pump. Off. Battery.
Strange, you need to turn this off before you turn a lot of other things off, so it's sort of relying on using that power from the
Unlocked and
APU.
off. External power.
Okay, external, so we go back to the overhead panel. Oh, we can actually, that's cool, I just noticed we can actually select, if we can see it. I think it says ground services as well, that's illuminated. So ground service, APU power. Oh yes, of course, we got APU power and then external power.
External power left and right bus. On. Galley. Off. APU bus left. Off. APU bus right.
Okay, cool, so that's the APU coming off. We're going to turn the...
APU master. Off. APU generator.
It's very strange, it says to turn the generator off after the master, and the air conditioning is being used from the APU still, so obviously that's a checklist issue. Can't imagine you turn the APU off before you turn the bleed air off, or the master switch for example. Also, how do you turn the APU generator off, because there's no there doesn't seem to be any way to do it. Anyway, there we go, it's finally shutting down. I think you just have to wait for it, perhaps. Anyway, that's off.
Off. Air conditioning left system. Off. Air conditioning right system. Off.
Back to automatic on
Cockpit
temps.
temp. Center. Cabin temp. Center. Yaw damper. Off. Strobe. Off. Anti-collision lights. Off. Left ground floodlight. Off. Right ground floodlight.
Off.
Off. Logo light. Off. Disembark passengers and cargo.
Right.
Internal lights.
We'll have to play a bit of cabin crew again, so back into the cabin. And again, the cool sort of interaction with the door. Let down by poor programming on the auto throttle, unfortunately. Hit and miss. Parameters to use it are, let's just say, very difficult to get accurate, it seems. Shouldn't be that case. It shouldn't be the case of struggling to get it to work every time. It should work every time flawlessly. So let's go ahead and open that, if we can, if that'll work. Get those stairs popping out. Nope, we're stuck on the door again. Oh, there we go. Nice little door, stepper deployments for the packs. Internal lights is required.
As required.
Into external power
External
bus.
power
So
left
this is
bus.
just disconnecting the ground power at this point.
External power right bus. Off. External power. Off. End of checklist.
End of checklist. So everybody, that was a full checklisted flight from A to B. Not as good as my other one due to the fact that the landing was... Yeah, there's some things in there about the programming on the MD-82, in particular the approach programming and the autothrottle programming, which are going wrong, and that's why probably not a lot of people fly it. They download and pay for payware and get the freeware add-ons that are a lot better. I can see why, although it is a good aircraft. When it did work earlier, I was having a lot of fun, and when nothing goes wrong, it really is a great plane to fly. The problem is that there are too many bugs in there, and there's no clear way of how to operate around them. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next flight. Take care.